Guys, I'm very scared to be here on the stage. I've been doing like 10 panels during Devcon, but I think this is the most scary stage ever.
Intimidating because?
I always wanted to learn about FHE and encryption and ZK. Even at dinner yesterday, I was asking the founder, Alex from ZK Sync, about zero knowledge proof and who should we work with. It's just an area that I have no knowledge, but I learned so much from the previous talk, and I'm completely inadequate to address any of the topics here. I'm a little bit scared.
Hello, there we go. Funny of you to say inadequate to address the topics because for those of you that you don't know, we're going to wing this. We did not know it was just us two, but we're going to tackle it like that's the case, and try to introduce you guys to what it is that we're doing. We are both a part of...
We're both part of the MegaETH team. Anyone here has heard of MegaETH?
Got a couple of hands up. Cool.
Surprise.
Yeah. So you guys don't know us. I'll just assume that. This is Xiao. She is the co-founder of MegaETH, one of three. I am Bread Guy. I write a lot of nerd stuff on the internet, and now I've recently joined the team as head of community. And we're here to introduce you a little bit about what it is we're building and why it's cool. Actually, it's a fireside chat, so I'm actually asking you questions, and you will tell them why it's cool.
I think we should switch our position.
Yeah, that's me.
But actually, I can be Brett today.
Yep. So high level, where do we exist in the stack? You guys are aware of Ethereum, you're aware of L2s, L3s, whatever. Place us within the hierarchy of the world that they know it.
Yeah, so the panel is not supposed to be shilling about MegaETH, so I'll focus a bit less on MegaETH, but I want to share with you guys, my view of Ethereum scaling, what we're lacking, and how we are thinking about addressing it. So myself, I've been in crypto since 2017. I joined Consensus during the 2017 ICO boom. My job was to put like random stuff on chain. Anyone here was here in 2017 and knew about Consensus? Yeah, so I was doing things like, working with the Dubai government to think about how to put traffic lights on chain. No joke, the local government said, wouldn't it be really cool if, red lights are objectively true on chain? And part of me was like, I don't understand why, but why not? 2017, it was like the theme of world computer. You're thinking about, this permissionless ecosystem. Everything should be built on chain. We want to like freaking tokenize the entire world. So I came from that part of the era. And then stay at Consensus for many years. By the time I left this year, I was leading our global business development. So that covered the wallet I hope you are still using. It's called MetaMask. Anyone still uses MetaMask?
No.
Yeah, one day we'll have to put some sort of ZK in MetaMask. Maybe you guys can do it. And I was also working on Infura, working on Truffle, and a bunch of developer tools. But I've been, for all the years I've been in crypto, like we were always talking about scaling, right? But in my view, I think Ethereum fell a bit short on scaling, especially from a near-term perspective. And I'll tell you the reason. So when I was at Consensus, my job was to do business development for all of our products, right? So if you're thinking about MetaMask and Infura, you're really thinking about which ecosystem you are plugging into and what use cases you're in power, right? So MetaMask from a user perspective, it's a browser and just use it for whatever, but there are certain use cases that exist on certain chains that's very powerful on MetaMask. So when I was evaluating all the ecosystem, I was not just evaluating Ethereum, I was actually very early on evaluating Avalanche, Solana. Back then, before Near became an AI coin, there was something with Near.
And then chain abstraction, and then they've been on a journey, right?
It's been a long journey. And then, I went to the first Solana breakpoint. Anyone here has been to the first Solana breakpoint? Okay, that guy you raise your hand almost every time. I feel like we share some career journey together. And then very early on, I realized that Solana actually had a very vibrant ecosystem. You might be salty about, FTX King made them, but the community was very real. So my job at Consensus was like, there are actually things happening on Solana. Maybe like MetaMask should integrate with Solana. And obviously things did not happen, but the lesson learned I had was if for Ethereum to win in the long-term scaling game, we need a short-term scaling play as well. And I was working with all the layer 2s, and I think everyone has done a tremendous good job on innovating on the consensus aspect. Innovating on the optimistic fraud proof, the zero knowledge fraud proof. I was also the one who launched Linea from 0 to 1. And when I asked my product folks, it was like, what's so special of Linea? And they told me like, we pioneered this lattice proof algorithm. I'm not technical and I never pretend to be, but I was like, nothing about that is cool other than the name lattice was cool. But that coolness of ZK did not translate into actual onboarding developers. And I'll give you a real example. I had a really good friend who was a trader at Jump Crypto. So I told him, I said, dude, why are you trading? Like, I think the most beautiful thing to do in crypto is to be a builder. I said, don't trade, come and build in Ethereum. And he actually listened to me, he quit his job. And he wanted to build a fully on-chain perp DEX on Ethereum using the Linea stack. But what was so disappointing was Linea was just not powerful enough, right? You have like 10 TPS, you can't really do much. So I think that was quite a wake-up call to me, like Ethereum needs something that's really scalable and can compete with other layer 1 ecosystem. And that's what compelled me so much of leaving consensus after 6 years to build MegaETH, which is quite a contrarian take in building a rollup because we have a very centralized execution environment. And right now we're using optimistic fraud proof, and everyone kept telling me I need to use some sort of ZK, but maybe you guys can educate me on how to make it more secure. But yeah, the story was really, when I think about our ecosystem, I think about we have all this beautiful infrastructure, but it does not suffice the short-term needs of this Jump crypto trader want to build in Ethereum and have something that's like fully functioning, runs really smooth. And by the way, what this guy doing right now is he's now building a monad. So every day I'm just like, I think us as an industry need to think about what are the technology we can do it right now, and then think about what we can build in 2029. Sorry, that's a very long intro, but I try to keep it more contextual based rather than just, I'm not here to show MegaETH.
So I actually want to hone in on, you said earlier on like your initial light bulb moment was like, or not light bulb moment, but the thing that appealed to you is I want to put everything on chain, right? I think that's everyone's initial reaction when they get in the industry. They say like, oh yeah, I can put light bulbs on chain, light switches, whatever. And then you ultimately get to this point like, okay, blockchains maybe are not the best thing for that, or only some things can go on chain because not everything is performant enough. Would you say that was your natural progression of like your dreams dying because you realized the capacity limitations of blockchain just broadly? And do you think that actually happens today?
Yeah, so I think there are two ways to look at scaling bottleneck, right? One way is, copium. You're just copying. You're like, you know what? The blockchain will never be performant enough, so I'm just going to put things off-chain. Like, who needs the blockchain, right? And we're seeing a lot of that phenomena happening, and I always joke, I say, developers are actually cheating the chain. Because they're like, I'm a crypto application, but the only thing on the blockchain is an NFT. But I think the right way to do it is you have very scalable infrastructure, which we believe is really bring up the 2017 meme, which is the world computer, right? The world computer needs an extremely powerful execution environment. That could be MegaETH, that could be any other different permutation with new data structure, state tri-parallel computing. I also think it is something like what EigenLayer does, right? Credible commitment. When you are building on something, you know that it's gonna fucking happen. It is also something that using encryption, cryptography, to make sure that from a hardware level, right, what you're putting on chain is actually correct. So I believe that time to build is actually now, because what we promised in 2017 of the world computer is all becoming real right now because of all this different infrastructure stack. And I would go even further. Everyone else from every other alternative layer 1 is mid-curving on how to build a blockchain, right? A layer 1 should never be balancing between decentralization and performance, because you're gonna get neither. A layer 1, you're Your sole job is to be decentralized, is to be freaking censorship resistant. And you build other parts of the stack to increase the credible commitment in it, to build an execution environment in it. And I think the future of a very good infrastructure is not just modularity, it's building a heterogeneous network. You are not supposed to build everything by yourself. You're supposed to leverage what other people are doing incredible well, right? And that's what we believe in. We're very good at execution environment, and we're leveraging what other people are doing really well. So now the question is, so what? We believe that everything needs to be on-chain. We believe that what computer is here. What does it really mean to use cases? Right? Everyone complains that Ethereum doesn't talk about use cases. I criticize this quite a lot, bless you. And I criticize this quite a lot. And I think the fundamental issue is, I think Ethereum people needs more creativity. I think before people used the excuse that, oh, the blockchain is not ready, so I don't think too much, right? I just fork something and hoping that there's new benefits, that I can get new coins on a new chain. I think that era is changed. If you want to make an impact, and by the way, you should also want to make money. If you want to make money and make an impact, you should really think about what fully on-chain application can unlock from a creativity perspective. I can go a bit deeper into what the use case I'm envisioning, but you're not asking these questions, so I'm not answering, I guess.
To be honest, I like you rambling, so as a founder,
rambling.
No, in a good way. Like people need to see personality in this space. I feel like there's a lot of unopinionated takes. We are obviously an opinionated chain. You're an opinionated person. I love that. That's why I joined the team. You, and just to divert it entirely, because I saw you express opinion recently about Beam Chain coming out and having a strong opinion on, let's say, timeframes, right? Obviously, like we believe in high capacity, whatever. What's your general thought process on, we'll say, Ethereum broadly, and like what's been announced recently, kind of where you think the things are going, and where you think Ethereum as an ecosystem has lacked maybe initiative, I don't know how you want to say it, but like, what do you think the future is? How do you think we correct the ship, if you think that is something that needs to be corrected?
Yeah, I think everyone has a love and hate relationship with Ethereum. Would you guys agree?
Do you extend that to the foundation, or is it like the ecosystem broadly? What do you, when you say Ethereum, what do you think of?
I think in the Beam Chain example, I'm thinking about the foundation. I don't know if there's any foundation people here, please. I think the love-hate is, let me be more specific, right? I think deep down, everyone loves Ethereum so much. I challenge you to find another ecosystem that's so welcoming that I can sit on the stage, you know, building on Ethereum and telling everyone that I also hate it, right? I don't think you can find it anywhere else. And I think you cannot even replicate what Ethereum does, because you have someone like Vitalik. The dude is uncorruptible, right? You also have Ethereum Foundation folks who are so warm, like very much like focusing on the long-term game. But I think the hate part comes in like, you wish that things can be more accelerated, right? You wish it's not as convoluted. You know, someone might say it's a feature and a bug, but from my perspective, the Beam Chain announcement is great from a technical perspective, but I don't think it's very, very smart to put like 14 months of timeline for pilling, for example. And you know, I sent a message to Vitalik even, I said, you know what, do whatever your Giga Chat technical roadmap is, but half of the job is storytelling. Right? Half of the job is to get community excited and to tell them where exactly you can go next. So I think that love and hate is like, love is very deep, hate is on surface, but I guess the love always triumphs.
I can respect that, and I think like ultimately like that was part of the roadmap, right? They offloaded a lot of that to L2 teams so that we could, our teams could accelerate that stuff, whether it's us, whether it's Base, whether it's Optimism, whatever. All those teams are working independently to accelerate or to iterate on what people can do in the short term while they execute these large, gargantuan efforts, right? They're changing the engine of the plane while it's flying. Not an easy thing to do. How do we think this ends up materializing over the next, say, 6 months, 12 months? Do you think, based on what we've seen, right? Like, I think we're in this middle ground now where we're starting to see this stuff spread out, the ecosystem. There's fragmentation, whatever. You mentioned earlier the homogenous ecosystems are starting to be welcomed. You're seeing a lot of people migrate over to like the Solanas of the world because it is simple, right? You're like, there is a sense of community there. what do you think is going to be the catalyst that pulls together a lot of the Ethereans over the between now and Beam Chain, assuming it gets consensus and is implemented in 6 years?
I think the most important question we have to answer as a community is what is ETH as an asset? Because I think as a community, we are all die-hard builders, right? I was just at the Devcon. Sorry, this is me entering Rumble again. So I was just at the Devcon, and I was like, I love this community so much because I was at the DAC day. Robin Hanson was talking about prediction market, talking about how, overthrown the government. I love that type of shit. So I think that part, we will always be there. I think Ethereum will fundamentally always be the place where innovation happens. I have no question. But I think we need to figure out what is ETH as an asset because right now it's not clear, right? You have the layer 2 launching token. So how does the token contribute back to Ethereum, right? I mean, it's a question of our layer 2 is parasitic. I don't have an answer, but I hope that MegaETH does not become parasitic. I wanted to contribute to Ethereum both from a building perspective, bringing especially young builders. I'm very passionate. Most of our ecosystem builders fresh college graduate, right? You have to get them young. It's very important. But
you have to get them unburdened. I think that was kind of a point that you brought out to me, right? Because people today automatically assume things in blockchain and say, I cannot do this because of all of the history of the last 5 years. And if you get someone fresh,
they are moisturized, unburdened in their lane. And they can unleash a lot of creativity. But yeah, I think Ether as an asset, if anyone here has a view of Ether as an asset, I think we should figure that out. The ticker is important.
So yeah, I was on the stage recently, the main stage for Blobs, talking about whether ultrasound money is a thing and whether it's important. And ultimately, I'm firmly in the money camp. I think I don't think layer 2s are explicitly parasitic. I think they, because mainnet didn't scale, there were some issues there, and they offloaded users. I was whatever. But now that I think if L2s maintain the asset ETH, money and denomination of all assets take place there, and as long as you can unlock cool shit, people will need need ETH to access the cool shit. Therefore, price goes up. That's the only way we're going to escape to the next tier of valuation in the industry. I know we're short on time, so I'm going to wrap up. I just want to say, one, thank you for having us. And Shu, do you have anywhere you're going after this? Is there anywhere people can track you for the rest of the events if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's a good question. Do I have many more events? By the way, I really enjoy this. I feel like I've been to so many side events and no one really listened to me talking, but you guys are actually listening. I'm very flattered. So I will be around the Thailand Blockchain Week stage, but I think the best way to get to know our team, MegaETH, is to follow us on Twitter. So I am hotpod_DAO. I'm also the founder of Hotpod DAO. So if you like Hotpod, please join us. It's supposed to be an event where you don't network, fake network. You don't talk about your projects. You eat some good food. You hang out with your friends. But yeah, I'm also very open to people asking questions. We have a very contrarian design for our protocol. And lastly, I want to give a big shout out to the organizer. I think, something else I love about encryption and all of that is I used to have a nonprofit that's a privacy-focused single sign-on. So for everyone who is here, who's working on encryption, especially privacy-related technology, I applaud to you. I think the world is a better place with you. We're also actively looking at privacy-focused technology on MegaETH. We're working on decentralized VPN, for example. And if you have any idea of how to bake privacy into our ecosystem, I'm all ears. This is a topic I'm really passionate about. I used to work at Brave as well. So again, thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Oh God, that was bad.
Kapkan.